This is an HR program on demand, a living seed capsule of work life and workplace coming live from a rooftop in Stockholm, Sweden. It's me, Anne-Marie and
me, Katarina Berg.
A vodcast, if you like, on HR, straight across the counter. Sponsored by HR The Real Deal, HR by HR for HR. Hello, Luciana.
Hi, Anne-Marie.
Welcome to Stockholm.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Great, and we're so happy that you're here all the way from sunny Miami.
Yes, the Sunshine State, Florida.
Fantastic. And again, I wish we had sun today, but at least it's Stockholm. At least it's the rooftop. It's a bit windy, but I'm sure that we will manage.
I'm sure we will.
Really excited to have you join us because I think you have an interesting background, and also you are heading up and supporting a region, LATAM, that is extremely interesting, I think. So happy to have this conversation with you. But for us, as a start, who is Luciana? When did you start at Spotify? What is your background? Please just share so that we can get to know you a bit.
Sure. I'm actually Brazilian, born and raised in Brazil. But I've been in the US for about 24 years now. Went to Los Angeles, California to go to college, then spent 15 years of my life there.
Right.
And a career opportunity actually brought me to Miami about 9 years ago.
Right.
I think an important piece to say in Miami is that I have two beautiful kids. I'm a mom of two little ones. One who is a beautiful girl named Vida, and she's 5, and then a 2.5-year-old.
Wonderful.
And at Spotify, it's been 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I started as a HR business partner, supporting the head of global music. And then most recently, I am tasked now supporting Latin American markets, which is really exciting times for me.
I can imagine. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
New exciting step for you. So if you were to share, so it's very windy, so I'm actually having issues with my hair now. But LATAM, it's a big region. What can you share about LATAM at Spotify?
I think, look, I would love to share about our landscape a little bit and people first, right? When we talk about LATAM, we're talking about different, countries within a region. We have 5 different hubs, including Miami in the US, where our MD sits with some of her leads as well. Then we have other 4 different offices in the region, and that includes Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico. I think we are total about 150, people now, spread out in the region.
It's quite a nice size, isn't it? 150, yeah?
Yes,
You can get to know everyone, more
You can
or
get
less.
to know, and I am super excited. Of course, I'm still meeting people, and that's, I think, the most exciting part of my job, too. It's getting to know the different countries, the different cultures, and I think my role, right, as a HR VP, it's really embedded into getting to know the different, cultures, the different challenges that we face in each country, right? And when you think about LATAM, it is a region that we have 2 different languages, right? Portuguese and Spanish. And even the countries that speak Spanish, they are still very distinct from each other, right? So Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, when you look at these countries, even though they all speak Spanish, they have very unique, challenges and opportunities too, right? From political, social, diversity, right?
True.
Diversity, usually people think it's a global thing, but it can be very localized too, right? The needs that you might find in Brazil, they're very different the needs that are happening in Argentina or Mexico.
Yeah, for sure. And lovely that you say that, because sometimes when we are sloppy, right, we think One region, one culture, one language. It's like when we compare with the Nordics, and sometimes people think, well, it's one region, so you all look the same. No, actually, there are 5 countries. We do differ, right? And obviously also with a larger region like LATAM, as you explained. How does that massive diversity, how does that impact your role as an HRBP?
Okay, as an HRBP, I think I'm very excited to be part of, a growing, emerging markets like LATAM. And I think it's the beauty that I can bring, into each region, each country, is that I'm able to not only bring my professional experience, but also my personal experience,
True.
right? Being Brazilian, being Latina myself, right? Speaking Portuguese as my mother tongue, right? English is my second language. And looking forward, to get better my Spanish too. And being able to not only bring the professional experience that I have, but also knowing the personal needs that each, region has, each country has. So I think like being an HRBP where every single day I'm learning something different, and not only I can add the professional value to each country, I think also the countries are giving me the opportunity to grow personally too, as I learn. And I think the challenge and exciting part of my role is that I'm wearing different hats all the time, right? And being able to pivot and really understand that there are differences and big differences, and being able to be flexible to that, open to that. I don't think it happens overnight, right? It's something that takes time. It's something that you have to live on a day-to-day and have the experience with you.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. And clearly, as you say, not only do you have your professional background, but clearly you can translate maybe with your personal background and your origin nuances that maybe someone without that origin couldn't do, right? So that is obviously a huge benefit.
Correct. And
Yeah.
I can go back, I can give an example on Brazil, right? Even prior to supporting, Latin America, I'm based in Miami. And I believe it was in 2022, we looked back and did some local sessions, really trying to figure out how can we better, because Brazil we invested a lot in Brazil, growing really fast as well, and able to address some of our local needs when it comes to, the EDI perspective and the diversity there. And clearly, right, racial equity is something that we want to make sure we are addressing locally.
True.
And then last year, we kicked it off a program to address that and educate not only our regional leaders that support, the local markets in Brazil, to give them an understanding what it is to be a Black Brazilian, right? And the challenges, and how can we continue to be a diverse, company and making a change. So even prior to being officially part of Latin America from a HRBP perspective, I was already partnering with the EDI team, making sure we were designing a program that not only, from a global initiative, also has a very focus on local needs, right? So being able there to add that value, that personal, experience by being, a Black woman in Brazil, I think it's making a huge difference too. The program is still going. And I think the feedback that we're getting, not only from the employees, but also the leaders, are very positive.
Yeah, for sure. And this is how you keep that dialogue open, right? And you learn from one another.
Yeah.
Interesting that you mentioned that on the global initiatives, because Spotify is, it's a Swedishly rooted company, but now has a global presence, right? And then obviously with that comes the different regions and the diversity in the regions. How much of the global initiatives that are being launched throughout the company do you have to customize to LATAM as a region, or do you?
That's a sure thing we do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we at the top of our mind, we're always going to have our global initiatives there and why we do it. I think it's part of our DNA and our culture, right? As a Spotify. So we want to make sure when we are looking at the global initiatives, we have that sense of our values as a company first, right? But always keeping in mind, there will always be nuances locally, local needs, right? I mentioned about Brazil, from a diversity perspective, like the racial equity, like when you look at Mexico, we might be looking at gender, right? So it's like we need to be able to like be flexible and understand and really embrace each, country with their own individual needs, right? And how do we do that? It's by being a business partner, right? Sometimes I know we say HR business partner, but I have to emphasize on the business partner piece, and that's building trust. I know throughout the time, and Latin America, it is a region. I know we're very different, but I think one thing that I might say we have in common, like we're very personal, right? So I think we need to get to know people in a more personal level, and that takes time, right? And that's my focus, in partnership with the leadership team in LATAM. I'll spend more time with Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, of course, too. But understanding, the day-to-day, the challenges, so we can continue implementing the global initiatives that we have into local markets.
Luciana, can I join?
Yes.
Can you hire me? I mean, my God, what a fantastic job. And it's such a wonderful region with so beautiful people and very generous people. We talked about this earlier. Whenever I am in LATAM, it just strikes me how generous people are and warm. So, can I join?
Of course you can. We are like a big family. I always say this, like we're so supportive of each other and we are so resourceful.
Yes.
Sometimes I have to say, like, we need to give ourselves more credit, right? From a Latin American
You
perspective,
have to.
like we do a lot.
Yeah, you do. And obviously now this conversation turned out to be like a job application. So let's go back to where we started. So going back to interesting on the diversity and inclusion and bringing that back to the EDI team, as you call it. Here comes the question. It is a Swedish company, Spotify. I know it's global, but the roots are Swedish. How do you sense the Swedishness? Do you sense the Swedishness all through the region?
It's so interesting. Very good question. Even though I was born and raised right in Brazil, I spent half of my life right now in the U.S. Right, and a bulk of my experience has been with U.S.-based companies, right? And when I first started here, the Swedishness that I think it's not only it remains here is. And I don't know if it's like just Swedish, but also a combination of Spotify way of working, right? It's that we truly walk our talk, right? If we say we are innovative and playful and collaborative, we are. I really appreciate the openness and the transparency that comes from the top, right? All the way to your day-to-day. Not only with my peers, but also with my leaders, right? The ones that I work closely with, like the head of global music, the MD in Latin America. We're so open. I never feel like we're hiding things from each other. So I really appreciate that because it helps us to get unstuck faster. I don't feel that much of that bureaucracy there. So I think that is the Swedish, but Spotify way that my previous experience, it's better or worse, it's just very different. And I just feel like I'm part of the band. I joke around, I say like I'm in my honeymoon phase, but it's been 2 years.
Yeah,
and
it's been 2
I
years.
think it will continue like this for a long time.
Great. And I think also what you're referring to, the openness, the transparency, it builds that trust.
Yes.
Yeah. And Katarina says, when trust is high, speed is high. When trust is low, speed is low, right? So it also obviously helps you to move fast as a company and as band members. Yeah?
Correct. And we're here to help the business, right? To move forward and not to get stuck.
True.
So building that trust relationship is key.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Luciana, for sharing your thoughts on a very interesting region. Best of luck in your new role. Looking forward to inviting you back after a while so you can share with us, how has the journey been up until now. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And
Thank
you know how we close these episodes?
Of course I do.
With the 3 things. Shall we?
Shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
Stay safe, stay strong, stay active.
Idemo,
Idemo,
dalje.
dalje.
Great. Luciana.
Anne-Marie. Thank you.
So I'm coming.
No, you have to.
I have to come. I like to go.
So I look good, right?
Yeah, you look perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
My hair looks good.
And
At least it's not snowing.
or raining.
Or raining.
Have you seen the ones where we stand under the
Or the
umbrella?
umbrella and the snow.
Yeah, I know.
You got the umbrella in case.
And I actually have my raincoat with me because I wasn't sure whether, it was going to be dry or not.
And
Here
I
we
was
go.
like, maybe I'll bring the sunshine from Florida, but
Yeah.
all right, can we come back?
Yeah, you can come back.
And then
for
you
sure.
can come and visit me.
Yeah.
Miami, and then we go to Rio.
I obviously applied for a job on camera, but it's
I
impossible.
need to travel a little bit, get the sun,
I'm like,
You come along.
no, but it's a region that is unexplored for me, right? I've been to Peru and Brazil, but then it's massive. You have like this the tone, like a musical tone. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.